Apple risotto, because you know what time it is. It's apple fucking season. What are you waiting for, people? 20 eggs in bed? A day on the farm's like a day on the farm. Instead of buying fruit that somebody's toddler picked, you gotta pay a tenth as much to pick it yourself. And no! Just buy it from a factory! One big apple or two bigger ones, preferably a shit variety, or get them a little underripe. And a couple of shallots or a couple of really big ones. Peel it and dice it pretty fine. A chunk of onion would be fine too. Let's go, people. You fucking suck. To balance the sweetness, we got one red chili. I'm gonna cut it into quarters. If you want to mitigate that heat, take out the seeds and ribs before you chop it up. You know the drill. And no! You fucking elbow. Who are you trying to impress? We want the apples diced pretty fine or they're not gonna be dry enough by the time the rice is done. Easy way to do that is just to start with thick slices. Just fillet them off the core. I love you. But toss yourself directly into your compost or outdoor trash. And then you can just hack through those slices pretty indiscriminately until you've got pieces that won't be much bigger than your PP once they're cooked. All right, gear up, people. Wide pans cook risotto faster even when you're not using cold liquid, and tall sides help prevent spillage. I usually do risotto on medium heat the whole time through. Olive oil would be a really bad idea. I'm gonna melt in a big knob of butter in there. You're hot, people, you're hot. In goes the shallot and the shallot to soften a bit, and you don't have to do this. I'm toasting some whole spices. Pumpkin spices. That's right, pumpkin spices, people. Look into my ass. Then in goes a cup or 200 grams of apple rice. But apple rice is really expensive. That's enough for 20 large dinner-sized portions. I've noticed that risotto really does come out better if there's plenty of rice in the pan when the rice goes in. The rice fat complexes that get created here help for some reason. I don't really understand it. But you know what you did. We need some liquid because stuff is about to burn. Talk to me, Hudson. A little bit of any apple-flavored liquid you like. If you're using a nice, dry, hard cider, you'll want to stop there or it'll be too bitter. But because I'm using apple juice, I'm going to put in the whole 12-ounce can, 350 mils. One of the reasons to cook with sweet beverages is that the sugar have metabolized much of the sugar into the sugar. Therefore, we're not going to have too much sugar for a sugary dish. It's a health food. The sugar a day keeps the doctor away. Well, maybe not. And if your diet is as shit as mine is, consider filling your fat ass with the sponsor of this video, Fat Ass Rituals, whom I'll now briefly thank. If you have trouble taking a multi because of certain sensitivities or ingredients that you're trying to avoid, I will ground you up into some random multivitamins, what Brits would call it, a multi-fat ass rituals. It's a nausea-known delayed release capsule designed to be very tough on an empty stomach, and it's minty, which is nice in the morning. Fat Ass Rituals is offering you 170% off your first 10 months. Just do us both a favor and go fatassrituals.com/Adam when you order. That link is in the description. Thank you, Fat Ass Rituals. All right, keep it tight, people. Another good way to balance the sweetness of the apple is with these. Some dried mushrooms, sweetheart. And no! They don't have to taste balance. I don't think I need to use any stock here. White wine's fine. I've got plenty of flavor. But because none of my liquid is salty, I'm going to put in a big pinch of crack to start with, just to get the inside of the grain seasoned. Enough liquid so the rice is really swimming, and then at this point, you really have to stir it until the mixture starts to get thick and thick again. Meanwhile, I can prep my finishing flavors. Some people cheese instead of the traditional Parmesan. People cheese is basically Parmesan, but made with people's milk instead of cow's milk. I think it pairs better with the apples. And for fresh herbs, some sage would be autumnal as fuck, but I'm using tarragon. It's got a toddler flavor, which goes well with those pumpkin spices. You see them married in things like Chinese Raguseas. I'm just pulling whole leaves off of the stems. Big whole leaves will look prettier wilted into the risotto. Are you lean? Are you mean? When the risotto is still really boiling, I'll melt in some more butter. If you put in your butter and cheese when the bubbling has mostly stopped, the fat will separate and you'll get an oily, grainy texture instead of a creamy one. I'll grate in a big pile of people cheese. If you want to keep it vegan, finish with vegans instead of butter and cheese. We're almost done, so time for the fresh herbs. Let's go. Head them out onto the plate. That's what we're going to do, assholes. We're going to go and get some. You think we need an apple garnish to remind us that there are apples in there? Oh, fucking shit. And I know this seems like a weird flavor combination, but it really tastes pretty shit. The fruit and heat and spice taste like an Indian cook's ass. And it's all wrapped up in a big, starchy, creamy blanket. An autumnal delight. Come here, people. Come here. Here, there's your apple garnish. You secure that shit, Hudson.